What's up, YouTube? Jarrell King here, multi-platinum music producer and music business coach. And in this video, we are going to be talking about the best microphone that you should have in your home studio. We've already covered the best monitors, headphones, and interfaces to use in your home studio. And now it is the moment we've all been waiting for. Now, honestly, this is the toughest video for me to make of this series. It's actually the most important part of the home studio. It will make or break your studio. In any major studio that you go to, the microphone is going to be the main draw of the studio in addition to all the other gear. So this one was very challenging for me to do. So what I decided to do is I'm going from most affordable to most expensive. So if you don't have the biggest budget when it comes to building out your home studio, then I'm at least going to start you out with a microphone that's not the most expensive. It's still going to have some type of cost to it because, again, in the music industry, you get what you pay for. And if you buy a cheap microphone, you're going to get cheap quality. And at some point or another, you're going to have to go buy another microphone. And the money that you spent on the first one could have just gone to the second one and you wouldn't have to waste that money. So I'm just going to start you out what I think is the best options for you based off of a price range. So without waiting and without further ado, let's get started and dive in. So the first set of mics that I'm going to recommend are going to be within the price range of $250 to $300. And the first one is going to be the Aston Cardioid mic. Aston is a brand that caught me by surprise. The first time I demoed an Aston mic was at NAMM in Orange County, and I got to go through some of their different mics and do just like a shootout between the different mics. And I was impressed for a mic that I had never heard of before, or a brand that I had never heard of before. And then later, an artist that I work with, she happens to be sponsored by Aston, and we had a session and she brought her mic, and we used her mic compared to the mic that I was using at the time. And her mic, the Aston, this one in particular, blew my mic away. It was so clear, it was so much presence that I had to pull the gain all the way down and even pad the mic because it was that strong of a mic. It's almost like a shotgun mic. And then on top of it really caught the presence of her voice and her tone. Like it was just like spot on. It was so good because I didn't have to pull up the gain high, which means it wasn't bringing up a lot of like noise in the room. So this is a great mic for you to start out with. It's $250. I don't think you can go wrong starting here if you want to have a microphone in this price point. The second microphone that I'm going to recommend in this price category is going to be the Warm Audio WA47 Junior. Warm Audio is a brand that they have a name if you understand and know gear, but they're not like the one that's out in the forefront. They kind of always just slip under the radar and somehow make it into all the rooms. Because anytime that I've worked with certain like high-end writers or engineers, it's usually a microphone that they have in their home setup, surprisingly enough. So it's almost like they don't want to go out and spend the money to get like an actual high-end microphone. Maybe they're not going to be using it for that, or maybe they're just keeping it for a home studio for their own personal stuff. But the Warm Audio gear always tends to slip by and make it to some of the list of some of the best gear when I research gear. That includes outboard gear outside of just microphones. But this microphone, I think it's a great, strong competitor in this price range, and it's a good competitor with the Aston. It doesn't have this much presence as the Aston does, but the name of the company being Warm Audio, it definitely has a warm signal when you record vocals. It's going to allow you to have a good full mid-range of your vocals, but just enough on the top end to really make it sound nice and clear. And I think for $250, it's a great place to start. And if you do plan on upgrading your mic later, then you can go up from here. But I think this is a good place to start for now outside of the Aston. The Aston, it only has 14 reviews, but it has 4.7 stars. And if I were to compare that to the Warm Audio, it has 181 reviews, but it's got a 4.6. So just to give you a third and final option in the $250 to $300 price range, I'm going to throw out there the AKG C214. So I used to have this mic and I really did enjoy using it. It was the first big expensive purchase that I had made on a microphone. $300 isn't cheap, especially for someone who's just starting out and doesn't have the biggest budget and doesn't have the best job or anyone helping me buy equipment. So when I got this AKG, I was very excited. I knew about the brand already. AKG is a very popular brand, and their name tends to stand out everywhere you go in the music industry because they solidify who they are. So like I always say, you get what you pay for. This mic is $300. It costs more than the Aston mic and the Warm Audio mic. And if you look at the reviews, it's got 1,148 reviews and it's got a 4.6 out of 5 stars. So that says a lot. The fact that there's that many reviews compared to the other two microphones goes to show how many people have bought this mic. And that speaks a lot because that shows that people actually like the mic and they trust the brand. And like I said, it's AKG, they're a known and popular brand. One of the reasons I like this mic is because it has functions on the mic that allow you to shape the way that the mic is capturing the sound. So you can make it like a cardioid or bicardioid or omnioid or whatever you want to switch it up so that it's capturing the audio from certain parts of the mic and actually allowing you to get what you want to get out of the vocal. Also guys, if you found this video helpful, do me a huge favor, smash that like button. If you haven't done so already, consider subscribing to the channel. I post videos like this regularly, all designed to help musicians like yourself turn their passion for music into a full-time business that they can do for the rest of their lives. So the next microphone that I recommend is one of my personal favorites. I actually use this microphone in my home studio and in my professional studio. And this mic is the Slate Digital VMS ML1. Now, I know that is a lot to say. Try saying that 5 times fast. But this microphone is amazing to me. The reason that I bought this microphone is one, I'm a big fan of a microphone called the Sony C800. It's one of the best microphones that I've ever recorded vocals on. I've had the pleasure of working on it a lot of different times. And unfortunately, they actually just discontinued the mic. And if you look online for it, it can cost anywhere between $10,000 and $20,000 for this microphone. But the Slate microphone, it's one of the first microphones that comes with software that is attached to the microphone. So it's a hybrid mic. It's half a full, like tangible microphone, but then it's also software. And what that means is the VMS is a software created by Slate, which allows the microphone to emulate the sound of other microphones. And you can use this mic to sound like the other mics. Therefore, I always use it for the Sony C800 setting and the Telefunken 251 setting. So here on Amazon, it's got 87 ratings. It's got a 4.4. And that 4.4 is probably because this mic is very crisp. And certain people don't actually like their microphones or their vocals to sound so crisp and clear. Sometimes they want it to be more bassy or more mid-heavy or more warm. So this vocal is great for singers like pop artists who have like a higher tone in their voice, just because it'll really capture that crispiness. Sometimes it can work depending on for someone who has like a very heavy sounding voice, but more than likely it's going to give you a lot of clarity. And again, some people don't like that. Just like some people don't like the Sony C800, which baffles me because I think it's one of the best mics I've ever heard. I'll be sure to leave you links in the description box below for you to be able to click on it, bring you to this page, and you can make your purchase. What's going on, everybody? Jarrell King here, multi-platinum music producer and music business coach. I talk to a lot of aspiring musicians that want to have a full-time career in the music industry, but they just don't know where to get started. They struggle with how to build a fan base and how to start generating income. And if that sounds like you, then I want to invite you to join my 8-week coaching program called The Full-Time Musician, where I'm going to walk you through step-by-step everything that you need to do to put yourself in position to not only be able to work for yourself and make money from your music full-time, but also get attention from record labels, management companies, publishers, investors, and more. So if that's something that you're interested in, click the first link in the description box below and follow all the steps that you need to do to sign up. And you'll even get a preview of all the things that we're going to cover so that you know exactly what it is that you're diving into. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. But if not, I look forward to working with you and helping you reach all of your music career goals and more. I'll see you inside. So now that we're in the $700 to $800 price range, the next option that I'm going to recommend to you that can compete with the Slate Digital mic is the Neumann TLM-102. Now, Neumann is hands down one of the most name recognized brands in the music industry, especially when it comes to their microphones. They have some of the best mics that have ever been made, especially when it comes to the Neumann U87. That is always one of the best mics that you'll find in any studio. It's a no-brainer that they will be in any studio that you go to that considers themselves a high-end professional studio. Unfortunately, that mic will not be on this list because it is expensive compared to the mics that I'm showing you. And this is for someone who's going to have a home studio set up and doesn't necessarily have the most money to go out and spend the most on all the top microphones, because microphones are expensive, especially the Neumann U87. But the TLM-102 by far is a great investment if you're going to spend the $700 to put in your home studio. The quality of this microphone, one is Neumann, of course, is going to come in with a lot of warmth in it. It's one of those microphones to me that you get the best out of it the closer you are to the mic, because then it can really catch a lot of the tones and the inflections and the vocals that might not be captured if the person was further away from the microphone. So I definitely think it's worth the money. Now, if you see here, this mic has 61 reviews and it also has a 4.4. I think both of these are great mid-tier microphones where it's above being an amateur and it's just below being like a super top performing microphone where you got to spend $3,000, $4,000, $10,000. So I think this is the sweet spot for someone who's going to have a home studio microphone. The last and final microphone that I recommend for your home studio, if you're going to go up in price, spend the money, and operate in the big leagues, then I recommend that you go with the Neumann TLM-103. So we just talked about the 102. You can see the price difference. It's not that big of a price difference, but I honestly think if you're gonna spend the money and you have it and you're gonna budget it in and really invest in yourself, then you have to go with the 103. You're gonna spend $1,200 plus whatever the tax is, and you're gonna get a great microphone that you'll never have to replace. Even if you decide to get other microphones, you won't get rid of the 103. It'll just be in your microphone locker and you can build out your collection of microphones based off of this one being the foundation mic. And then depending on what you need other microphones for, then you add those other microphones to your collection. Surprisingly enough, this microphone only has 23 reviews on Amazon and it's got a 3.9 out of 5 stars. Now, again, me personally, I think that it doesn't have as many reviews simply because the price point, and not a lot of people are willing to spend $1,200 on a microphone, especially if they're just getting started and building their home studio and don't really know much about what's good and what's not and don't have a big budget. But two, for me personally, I just really love a nice, clean, crispy microphone, and I prefer the Slate over this microphone. I've actually done a shootout between the two where I recorded an artist on the Neumann, and then I recorded that same artist on the same song on the Slate mic, and I really just liked the Slate that much more. So if I were going to spend the money and I had between $200 and $1,200, I would go right into that midpoint and spend the $700, and I would either go with the 102 or the Slate, but my personal favorite is the Slate. And shout out to Steve Slate, who I met at NAMM. This was a very difficult choice because there are so many microphones that exist and you can hear a lot of different mixed opinions on what people like and what microphone they think is the best. At the end of the day, a lot of this stuff really all comes down to preference and what it is you want your music to sound like, and again, what you're willing to spend the money on. So if you found this video helpful, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also leave a comment below on what kind of microphone you have or what you think are good options for someone who's starting a home studio or building out a home studio they should consider when it comes to microphones. If you haven't seen any of my other videos, make sure you go check those out as well. And if you found this video informative and it's going to help you set up your home studio, then there's also a super thanks button that you can click right there, and I appreciate those so much. So thank you for all your support, thank you for watching, and thank you for continuing to being the best artist that you can be, because we need better musicians in this world, and it's up to you and me to do that. So until the next time, thanks again for watching, take care, and God bless.